Hey, how is everybody today? I know these are new and very challenging times to try to connect with each other, with us all trying to be, social distancing and some self-isolation, and yet the church is to be together. We're to be connecting, and so along that vein, I've got a group of people here this morning on basically a chat, a Zoom call. I've got Aaron Groat and Candi Thorpe. Aaron is lead pastor at Calvary Baptist Church. Candi's there as communications director, Frontline Ministries. I've also got Gord Baptist on the line here, fellowship advancement director and pension advisor. And so what I was going to do is just kind of pick their brains for a minute or two here, just for some insights as far as, okay, how can we get up online and get ourselves running? And then from Candi, maybe, okay, how can we online do better in socializing and sort of see the church online as sort of the front door to the church as we try to connect to people, technologically speaking. And then Gord, just some thoughts about, hey, our investments. Here I am. I'm looking at retiring. I'm looking at transitioning, and I'm going to be coming back to Fed Central for 2 days a week. But what about my RSPs? What about my investments? What about pension? What should we be doing? So let me start with Aaron. Aaron, okay, I'm a pastor. Now I'm a baby boomer. Let's pretend it's me. I'm pretty technologically challenged. I want to get up online with a service or post something. How do I kind of begin to do that?
Well, for us, it was one of those things where you kind of saw the way the winds were blowing, and we'd thought about doing an online recording, some video, some media that way, and we had some technical expertise in that area, but really didn't have quite the congregation to push us over the line to do it. That we were going to spend some money. So when we knew that we weren't meeting together, we prepped pretty quickly to put something together, and we just got a very simple camera called the Mevo camera system.
What's it
And
called?
Mevo, Mevo, and
Okay.
it really takes the stress out of live streaming. We really believe that live streaming for our congregation, especially kind of a mid-sized congregation, we're maybe 120 to 130, depending on which way and which Sunday you're on. But we thought live streaming our services was critical for us to keep that connectivity. We'd put a lot of effort in recent days into having that congregational engagement piece. And so we really had to think through how we're going to engage our congregation. So we went with live streaming, and the Mevo system worked really well for that. And I think right now you can pre-order them. They got another batch coming in. But the Mevo system really was very helpful to us. Candi got up to speed on how to run it, and it made it very simple. We're still working through the bugs. We told our congregation this isn't going to be perfect, but we want to at least connect with you and chat with you. And so we do that. We do some Facebook Live videos, and we've really utilized the YouTube platform. We can live stream to YouTube, but if need be, I can also record something very simply on my webcam, and you can buy a good quality web camera that attaches to your computer, or you can use your phone. The phones today have fantastic cameras, and using an external microphone or even the cheap headphones that come with your iPhone, they're great microphones for doing it online.
So what you could do, so let me dial back a little bit, Aaron. So let's say it's basic. So could somebody actually take their iPhone and basically, record, hey, here's 5 things we're trying to do as a church during this time of social distancing. Here's a message, I want to give. Here's some worship. I mean, is that hard to do? They could just do that using their iPhone and some microphones?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the YouTube. If you're going to use the YouTube platform, the YouTube platform is very easy to upload to. You can record a video on your phone, and then save it to your computer or send it to your computer and upload it that way. You can do that very simply, and the quality is excellent. And using an external microphone that you can go to any kind of, I think you got Henry's. They'll have like lavaliers you could hook up if you need to. You could use just the simple headsets as long as it has a microphone. You can use that stuff. It's very simple that way.
No, that's good. And I think some of the things coming out of this whole time that we're in, I think expenses toward technology right now would take a high priority. Like things that you're looking at in your operating budget, I would say the one thing you want to prioritize are expenses to be able to go digital, to be able to go online, to be able to get things that you need to sort of get yourself up and
Oh yeah,
running.
yeah.
I think the second thing that's really important is patience. I was talking about this earlier with Candi, but just, you know what, there's going to be glitches, there's going to be
Mhm.
things that freeze. I
That's
was
right.
looking at some services on Sunday from some larger churches. Their Facebook feed was freezing a little bit for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe some sound quality issues. You can't help it. I think it's a time we're learning, we're trying to get up to pace, and we got to show patience and yet make it a priority to get ourselves out there.
Mhm.
Candi, let's go to you. Like, yeah, seeing sort of the online presence as the front door to your church. Talk a little bit about what you mean by that, and you know how we can adjust to our online presence as we're communicating.
Sure. So with our Sunday morning service, that's always been our primary front door. When we put out invitations to special services or even our Sunday service, it's often to come and check us out, see what our church looks like, and join us in community. Well, now as this social distancing has come through, our front door to our church has really transitioned to what our online presence is. And for those of us who are trying to communicate what a great church we have and all of the great things involved in being part of a church family, we've now hit this roadblock where we see that communication in the past, which has been quite passive and quite one way, where we put an invitation up on Facebook or we print some invitations and we hand deliver them to a door. We're now starting to really see this shift and this understanding that communication has got to be two ways. And so now when we invite people to our church through the front door of, say, our social media platforms, what we're doing is we're really inviting people to come and to join a conversation and join a conversation online. And so it's become increasingly important for us at Calvary to be able to create spaces to both to share information, but also to listen. And for our Fed Central churches, that's going to be critical as we move into this next period of isolation, this next period of distancing, is where are you creating spaces to listen to your church family? Not only listen to their needs, but also just listen to them as a family, them as an individual, so that we're communicating information about COVID-19, we're communicating information about what services are still going on and what ministries are still available, but that we're receiving information back from them as well, and we're entering into a dialogue. One of the
Any
things,
yeah, any suggestions along that, like some areas
yes,
where you can create, yeah, those spaces?
for sure. Aaron, I think, is a great leader at our church, and well, he's a great leader anyway. But he's a great leader at our church because he really has a throw it at the wall attitude. No idea is off limits, and so regularly in our staff meetings, he encourages the staff to dream big, and just to start talking about the ways and the things that we can do. And so for us, a new front door to our church is we're utilizing Facebook Live a little bit more. A few weeks ago, Aaron intended to go online into our private Facebook group. So our church has a public page where everyone can come and engage with content, but we also have a group that's just for current attendees who can just share prayer requests and different things. He intended, unfortunately, to go live in that group to run a Monday night with Pastor Aaron, to pray, to just interact with people on a pastoral level. But unfortunately, or what we like to say now is fortunately, he clicked the wrong button and he went live on his personal page. So what was seen as a sort of a gaffe, and he says, I'm going to get off, you know, just texting him to encourage him to keep going, because now he's taken this front door of social media and he's actually brought it up a few hundred feet, because he's now engaging his church family with his neighbors, his friends, and the people that he interacts with on a daily basis outside of his ministry. And so this front door to the church, we now see that Aaron brought these spheres together, these circles together, and it allows his friends to see that as church family, we enjoy having fun together, and we talk about a lot of different mundane things that just brings a little bit of levity into people's lives. And so now
Aaron,
now what our church is doing is we're now just asking other people, listen, if you see someone from the church who starts a Facebook Live, jump on, encourage them, and let them know how they can get engaged.
No, that's a great idea. Aaron, did you sort of have to shift what you were going to say now that you went on your own personal Facebook page?
Well, let me tell you, that was a scary moment because I realized that suddenly my platform had grown quite large. And yeah, I was encouraged to keep going. I have spheres from like my friends, I have colleagues, I have people that I engage with the law enforcement world, with some of my chaplaincy volunteer work. And all of these spheres are colliding, and we're just talking about life, and we're just trying to, for me, the evenings are the hardest. I am an extrovert. I miss people. I love my family dearly, don't get me wrong, but like, so the evenings were tough. So when I went live, I just had to force myself to have a conversation and talk quite a bit. And so that was hard. It was one of those things where it was scary, but yet at the end of it all, I brought it around and I talked about my faith tradition and how I view some of these things and kept it light, but just a little bit of touch of the engagement. And I'm going live tonight again.
And how many are you getting, Aaron? How many are actually, like, you getting 10, you getting 5, you getting 30?
Oh, Candi, you saw, I was up around 60 people. I saw.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Pastorally, our people need to hear us and they need to see that we're okay. And one of those ways, and if we're going to use Facebook, and let's redeem the technology and use it, our people need to see their leaders. I want our people to see our staff. So even when we do our live stream or a recording or whatever, I want them to see the staff physically distant apart from each other, of course, but they need to know that that part of their life is still normal. And so that's been a huge priority with us for the engagement piece. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is we have to step up and lead. I mean, there's no question as you know, pastors and staff people. I mean, this is a time where exactly what you're saying, Aaron, people need to see that, you know, we're not shrinking, we're not resisting, we're not cocooning, we're alive, we're out there. We still have ministries going. There's still things happening. It's just going through a different vehicle by which we're doing it right now. The other thing I want to say in the middle of all this has to be temporary because, you know, all the one another's of the New Testament fly in the face of this isolation time. You know, don't forsake the gathering of ourselves together. So this, I believe, is temporary. We're trusting it's going to be temporary. But it's a very challenging time because the church is a together kind of movement. And for now, we're trying to do the best we can. But we do need to connect. It's not really social distancing. It's physical distancing because we still need to connect with each other. So very good. Very good. Let me go to Gord. You've been patiently waiting there, Gord.
No problem.
Here I am. I mean, I'm on the eve of turning 65. I've been watching my RRSPs. I'm thinking, what in the world? The timing for me. Any advice to all of us, you know, what about our RSPs, our pension plans, that kind of thing? What would your words be to us along those lines?
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share, guys. And, you know, it has been a challenging days that we've been experiencing. You know, listening to some of my fellow brothers, pundits, shall we say, in the financial services realm, they basically, the main mantra or the manifesto has always been the consistent thing about markets is they're inconsistent. And that is the thing that is happening. You know, these are the days that tests one's investment tolerance metal, I'll call it, where, you know, where we would love those days where it's really great. But boy, when they go down, this is when you really kind of sit back and say, okay, what kind of an investor am I? And if you've been well spread out and diversified, in other words, if you're not just in one area, but you're in stocks and you're in bonds and or GICs, and you are not just in Canada, but you've got your investment allocations in the United States and in good G7, good strong companies in good strong countries. You know, these are good things to have so that not all, as I say, your eggs are in one basket. And, you know, let's try to remember that we're comparing the actions of what's been going on from, quite frankly, the highest that the markets have ever been. To be honest with you, we were poised for a correction anyways, without, what's happening between Putin and the Arab oil nations, producing nations, and the panic. I mean, this is literally panic. I was really encouraged on Friday, when I saw that the markets were starting to rebound, particularly in the United States. And then Mario Cuomo comes on, and this is just comments from the next day in the Financial Post, where he comes up and he just shuts down New York, and guess where Wall Street is, right? New York City. And he's starting to shut down businesses, and he's saying, groupings been 2 or 3, and all of a sudden the panic starts to manifest itself, and you literally see the markets go down to the levels that they went down. I think it was like 800 points for the Dow Jones on Friday. So these are the days that will test us. But remember, everybody, you may be down. And by the way, even though the markets are down 30 or 35%, I've been looking at portfolios that have been well diversified, and generally we're down, including myself. I'm 65 too, Bob, so I'm with you. This white hair ain't just me dyeing my head to look old. This is it. We're down about 15. I am, and many of the others that I've been asked to check in their portfolios, we're generally around half of what the markets have been. So that shows the prudency of being diversified. And so be encouraged by that. But the markets are always thinking short term. That's how they think. And we're on a longer term plane. If you're thinking in terms of how things are going, I mean, Bob, you said, how long is this going to go on? And Aaron, I don't know if you guys can pull this up, but I asked you to bring up a chart. Can you bring up that chart for a moment there? Okay, so folks, this is something that I copied from CI Institutional, which helps us to go and share. They share information about us. Can you bring it down a bit more, Aaron, to that chart there? I want you to see something here. That basically these are the past infections that we've experienced globally: SARS, avian flu, MERS, Ebola, and Zika. And you'll notice that the negativity of these basically go anywhere from a 3.5 month to as small as 23 days. Now, clearly, COVID has been going longer since, the beginnings for us here in the Western Hemisphere has been going on for about 33 days. How long this will go on? It could go as long as even avian flu, but understand every one of these had a time where it terminated, and that's really important. And you see the different various degrees of losses, but look at the rates of return within the same 12-month period. And that's the key thing here. When you have not panicked, when you have stayed the course, and you still have your units, the moments the markets return, and they will return, and they probably will return pretty quick, because that's the make. When markets go down quickly, they generally rebound fairly quickly as well. And when they do, the moment that they do, your returns will come and show fruit of it. So be encouraged by it, guys. These are the times that test our mettle, as I said. But I think Proverbs 3:5. I mean, we spouted out trust in the Lord, but boy, when it says, trust Him, and in all thy ways acknowledge Him. This is times that God brings together, I believe, where we get a chance to really live these promises and these words and these principles that are given to us. And Psalms 1 always pops up for me. Blessed is the person that does not, walketh in the counsel of the ungodly. Boy, you've got pundits out there. The worst area, and this is just Gord talk. You heard a TED talk, right? This is Gord talk. I think the worst sources of counsel is the news right now. And particularly, especially when it comes to markets and things like this, there's a lot of panic that is being manifested by people who are just out there to make their name known. And so take a lot of discernment. Take a lot of salt and seasoning with their words, and just compare it to God's principles. And then you know what? Just ride it out, guys, because we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We've been here. We've been through this before, and we'll continue to do it again.
Gord,
That's my
those are
thought.
very good. No, really appreciate that. And I just wanted to wrap up. You know, God hasn't given us a spirit of fear. And I think we have this great opportunity to just demonstrate our confidence in the Lord. Where it gets testing sometimes is in the financial area, because it's going to hit our churches likely financially. I think we're going to be seeing people being laid off, if not already. And how do we respond to them? How do we try to get them help? Again, that's where we look to the Lord. We are going to get through it. There's no question. And God is on the throne and giving us the wisdom to move forward in these days. Any other comments, Aaron or Candi, from you guys as we're sort of winding down here this particular Zoom call?
I guess the only thing I'd say from a pastoral level is I know there's lots of conversation about the fact that, you know, as smaller pastors, well, what can we do? What can we offer? We all have something unique in our smaller churches that our people need to hear. There's a reason why people go to smaller churches.
Mhm.
And I think that we need to leverage that. Even if it's like, seriously, getting on the phone and calling your people, or even if it's setting up a phone tree, or even if it's setting up a Zoom or something, we need to broker God into people's lives in the midst of this. And to not do something, well, I just think that we could roll over and die, but we got to do something. And so help our people to process this through a theocentric worldview.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, Aaron, Candi, Gord, thanks very much for joining me. It probably the first of many, many posts, but I appreciate your responses, and just continuing to look to the Lord. He is our refuge and strength, a very present help in time of trouble. There's no question.
Amen.
And he's continuing to carry us through. Blessings, and thanks very much.